Vishal, first of all, thank you for being a part of this beta program for ID and for trusting us with your journey, investment journey. Introduce yourself to our users, and what have you been up to, and what made you decide to go with this beta program.
Okay. So my name is Vishal Jain, and yeah, I work in the IT sector, and I've been investing for close to 2 decades. Direct equity markets as well as a little bit of SIP that SIPs that have been going on for a while, and what got me into this program was initially just curiosity because I was victim of some of the behavioral patterns of investing in equity markets and tendency to exhibit knee-jerk reactions to market volatility. Uh, when I first heard about ID, the theory of what ID tries to do seemed interesting enough for me to give it a shot, and so that's why I got started with ID.
Yes, that sounds good. So, Vishal, also tell us what has been your experience with IDs. Tell us something about your investing journey and what were your thoughts when you started uh, to participate in this program, and if there's any experience that has helped you
Yeah.
sticking to your objectives. Not.
Yeah, sure. And so I can see how these tiny daily attempts to provide a nudge to myself, whatever link that comes through the bugs program, that daily attempt to provide a nudge to buy or sell a small quantity just to bring down that overall average acquisition cost, right, of that stock.
Mm.
That small thing reminds me of, you know, yeah, the markets are going to go up and down. All right, so that's not going to change. But what you can try and do is lower this average cost a little bit, and as long as the company that you are invested in, you continue to believe in them, then it just goes a long way in just compounding that alpha that you generate, over your entire portfolio. And I can see that that's happening. I mean, overall the portfolio might have been good, bad, whatever, but I can see that those tiny changes that I did, through the program do continue to generate an alpha, and it's probably just been a year, so I can imagine that this will only compound over a period of time. And even if it doesn't, well, it at least gives me a little bit of, you know, not do those knee-jerk reactions. I mean, I can see that there are a few portfolio items that are not part of ID, for example, maybe my other account. And in those places, I tend to not do those knee-jerk reactions anymore. Like if it's dropping, it's okay. We'll watch for it. At the most, I would go and figure out, hey, is anything changed in this company's outlook? And that's why it's dropping or rising. So that's the most I usually do. At least try to do that a little bit more than I used to do earlier.
So if I get this correctly, it has changed your behavior to some extent on equity, your outlook even outside ID. So that's okay, that's growth within oneself. And the other part I think you mentioned is there's no magic wand in the sense you do something and things will overnight happen. Investing is, as some investors say, it's like watching paint dry. So
Yes.
things do not happen overnight, but sticking to a process rather than trying to find the next Tesla or a Page Industries, the process should find out compounders, and the important part is sticking to that process. So one thing you did mention about the behavioral aspect. One thing about ID which you find most relevant, which you find useful in your investing journey.
Yeah, I think one thing that strikes me is in a positive way. It's not trying to, maximize or keep doubling down. It tries to keep everything in whatever is your investment appetite. So it tries to, balance that a little bit. It doesn't try to do those big shifts, buying or selling in a day. It's always trying to do a little bit. If I have, let's say, 100 stocks, 100 quantity of a particular stock, then it's not trying to, buy and sell 50 at a go. It's only
Okay.
doing a tiny bit, and even that tiny bit actually helps in generating a slightly better alpha for that stock. And that's remarkable because I would have never thought about doing those smaller shifts. I would have always said that, yeah, okay, it's dropping, so maybe I should just half this, or maybe just buy, another 50 to. I would have made, if I was not looking at ID, I would have made those much bigger shifts and obviously much bigger risk that I would have to carry for my decisions. Now, that I don't worry about it, and I also don't log into my Zerodha account multiple times a day. In fact, I just wake up in the morning, I'm just clicking on it, and I've just forgotten about it until next day morning. So I generally don't even log in. So that's a good thing. I am saving some time there.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the first thing about investing. You do not need to look at it on a daily or you know or even at a weekly basis. And I think you very very rightly pointed out. So rather than trying to make very big calls, why not take advantage in a big way of any move? But then that's only in hindsight, because the move was big or small is only known in hindsight.
Correct.
Because if you happen to take a very big call on a particular move, what's the guarantee nothing else happens after that?
Correct.
So you need to have that runway in front of you, and the stamina to continue on that journey. So I think that is a point very well brought out. So, yeah. Uh, any one thing that you find missing, or should be there in ID, uh, that will also help everyone to get a perspective of what to expect. And
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a few. If you ask me, I'm not able to, prioritize on the spot as to what would be
Mhm,
that one thing. Typically, I would just want to be able to say, yeah, this is my, the bottommost stop loss kind of a indicator, below which if it drops, I just want to exit from the stock. I don't care whether I made money or not. I just want to exit. This could be sometimes from the analyst. If I'm following any analyst report and they say, yeah, this is your exit price. Okay, so I just want to be able to just feed that upfront. Maybe it's there, maybe I've not seen it, but that's what I would want to say, that it's just fed right up front. Of course, I would love to have some automated or order placement. I would probably not even want to go log in and do that,
mhm,
simply because I fully didn't make use of those, the TOTPs, to do that. So yeah, it's a 15-second kind of a barrier to say every day morning I'm feeding my password and the OTP.
mhm, mhm.
But then I would love to not even look at it, because what I probably need is already there in that interface of ID. Is it doing okay? Not okay? If I'm just able to go do it, I think probably that would be my top thing. Yeah, I think you could increase the ambit of the stocks that can actually order. For example, ETFs, the gold bees or liquid bees, and these don't happen, so I have to manually feed them, like, so I would probably want to. I don't know whether it makes sense. Maybe I've not educated myself on that, but I would want to uh, probably just you know seamlessly feed a ticker, and then it says,
Uh-huh.
yeah, sure, I've added, right?
Correct. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I think over a period of, I think it's improved quite a bit since the time I started, where I used to manually tell at the beginning, to now where I'm able to just add to a watch list and go do things.
Yep.
I'm assuming that it's just going to improve, so I'll leave
Yeah,
it at
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. And just to add for people watching, this full automation, like system takes care of every buy and sell. That's a regulatory requirement at this point. So
Mhm.
yeah, otherwise there's nothing which stops the system from doing all that. And even the point you mentioned about ETFs. So for people who are not aware, ETFs have to be treated slightly differently, and there is some manual operations involved to make them a part of your portfolio. But that again is just teething this thing for full access for the API. So obviously we are at the beta stage right now. So yeah, as a problem, as a technological problem, it's a low lying fruit.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, Vishal. So any message from your side, or so think of yourself 5 or 10 years ago. What would you have done or behaved differently? In a way, what would be your advice to somebody who is just starting out on the investment journey? on the stock market, what to expect.
Yeah, I think once you are done researching about a company, and then you feel like yes you want to invest, staying invested for long and going through those ups and downs of that market for that particular company is worthwhile, and probably less stressful than jumping from one to another, because there is no guarantee that your shift to another company or another stock is going to give you better returns, and you're always going to be trying to, maybe it'll work out but maybe it won't, but then it's very likely that if you stay invested in fundamentally strong company, is probably going to give you returns, and maybe it'll give you slightly lower return than some other company, but just remember that you cannot be at all the parties at the same time. You just need to enjoy staying put in one party and and stay longer in that. So that's all I would have told myself if this was 10 years me 10 years ago me.
Yeah, makes total sense, Charles. So, this particular jump, so, the returns is only available to us in hindsight. So, this data is available to us hindsight. So, as an investor, when you decide to invest in a particular stock, obviously you have done your due diligence, and collected all the information that was possible. And if there is conviction in the research, if there is conviction, then at least giving it the full benefit, so to speak, run its course. But then the other part is also not put all your eggs in one basket. So spreading out definitely helps.
Great. Yeah, that's the part I probably missed. Just don't choose one. When I said in one party, it's like stay in one
Okay,
portfolio. Definitely diversify.
diversify.
But yeah, just stay put long enough.
Yeah. Conviction, stamina, and time compounding. That's the formula for compounding. Thank you so much, Vishal.
Yeah.
Uh, hope,
Thank you, Vikas.